Hello everyone, welcome to this lesson on direct and inverse variation. Before starting direct and inverse variation, let's understand what is variation. Now, variation means a change in one quantity due to a change in another quantity. Let's say one student can eat 2 chocolates. So if there are 3 students, they will be able to eat more chocolates, that is 6 chocolates, right? So if I'm changing the number of students, the number of chocolates consumed is also increasing. Means change in one quantity is resulting change in the other quantity, right? Let's take another example. If 1 dozen of, let's say, banana cost rupees 50, then 2 dozen will cost rupees 100, right? So if I'm increasing the quantity of a banana purchased, the other quantity, that is the price, that is also changing, right? So this change in the quantity affected by the change in the other quantity is called variation. Now there are two types of variations. One is the direct variation and the other is the inverse variation or indirect variation, we can say. Let's start with direct variation. Now, what is direct variation? Let's understand this with the help of an example. Let's say if one ball costs rupees 10, then 3 balls will cost rupees 30. So here if you observe, if you are increasing the number of balls, the price of the balls is also increasing, right? Let's take another example. If 5 pens cost rupees 50, then 1 pen will cost rupees 10. So here we see if we are decreasing the number of pens that is being purchased, the price is also reduced. So basically direct variation means if I increase one quantity, then the other quantity also increases. If I decrease one quantity, then the other quantity also decreases. So there is a direct variation, right? So there is a direct relation. Let's say x and y are two quantities which vary directly or are in direct variation or direct proportion. So if I increase x to x1, then y will increase to y1. If I decrease x to x1, then y will also decrease to y1. So in direct variation, the ratio of the two values of x, the ratio of the two values of x will be equal to the ratio of the two values of y. So what will be the ratio? X is to x1 will be equal to the ratio y is to y1, or we can say in fractional terms x by x1 is equal to y by y1. So since we are changing the value of x, which is resulting to a change in the value of y, we can say x is an independent variable. and y is a dependent variable. Now let's check if the ratio of the two values of one quantity is equal to the ratio of the two values of the other quantity in direct variation or not. So let's take 5 men can type 500 pages and 12 men can type 1200 pages. Let's see if the ratio of the two values of the first quantity is equal to the ratio of the two values of the second quantity. So the ratio is what? X is to x1, right? And the ratio of this will be y is to y1. So directly we can write 5 is to 12 and 500 is to 1200. Let's change it into fraction. 5 by 12 and this will be 500 by 1200. And if I reduce this fraction into the simplest form, we'll find that it will become 5 by 12, right? So dividing both the numerator and denominator by 100, we get 5 by 12. So we can clearly see that the two ratios are equal, right? So we can say it is clear that in direct variation, the ratio of two values of one quantity is equal to the ratio of the two values of the other quantity. Clear? Let's take another example to see if the ratio of two values of one quantity is equal to the ratio of the two values of the other quantity or not. So let's say 7 dozen eggs cost rupees 105 and 4 dozen eggs cost rupees 60. Now let's see if this ratio of the first quantity is equal to the ratio of the second quantity. So 7 is to 4 and this will be 105 is to 60. So we can write this in the fractional form and same here. Now let's simplify this fraction. So we can say 5 times 5 2 is 10, 5 1 is 5, 5 12 is 60, 3 7 is 21 and 3 4 is 12. So we observe that it has turned out to be 7 by 4. So this two ratio is also equal. So in direct variation, the ratio of the two values of one quantity will always be equal to the ratio of the two values of the other quantity, but only in direct variation. Now what is indirect variation? Indirect variation is just the opposite of direct variation. Here there is an inverse relation between the ratio of the two quantities of x and the two quantities of y. Let's take an example. Let's say one man can do a piece of work in 100 days. So obviously 5 men will take less time because one man takes 100 days. So 5 men will take, let's say, 20 days. So what do you observe here? If I am increasing the value of this quantity, the value of this quantity is decreasing. So there is an inverse relation, right? In direct variation, what happened? If I increase this quantity, the other quantity also increased. But in indirect variation, if I increase one quantity, the other quantity decreases. And if I decrease one quantity, the other quantity will increase. So if we increase one quantity, the other quantity will decrease, right? And if I decrease one quantity, the other quantity will increase. So there is an inverse relation. Clear? Let x and y be two quantities which vary indirectly or are in inverse variation or inverse proportion. Then if I increase x to x1, y will decrease to y1. Then if I decrease x to x1, y will increase to y1. So here the ratio of two values of x will be equal to inverse of the ratios of the two values of y. Inverse means the reciprocal. So here if x is to x1, it will be equal to the inverse, that is y1 is to y. So if I write in fraction x by x1, this will be y1 by y. So you can see the difference from direct variation. So in direct variation, the ratio of the two values of x was equal to the ratio of the two values of y. But here the ratio of the two values of x is equal to the ratio of the you can say inverse of the ratio of the two values of y. So here x again is the independent variable and y is the dependent variable, which means the value of y is dependent on the value of x. If you change the value of x, the value of y also changes. Now let's take an example to see if the ratios of the two values of one quantity is equal to the inverse of the ratios of the two values of the other quantity. So here one man can work for 100 days. So 5 men will work for 20 days. So there is an inverse relation. The number of men is increasing and the number of days is decreasing. So according to the inverse relation, the ratio of the two values of this will be 1:5, and the ratio of the inverse of the two values of y will be 20:100, right? The inverse. So let's write this in fraction 1/5. This will be 20/100. So now let's simplify this. So 20, 1 is a 20 and 20, 5 times will give us 100. So we can clearly see that the two ratios are equal. This is equal, this is also equal. Is it clear? So the only difference between direct and inverse variation is that the ratio of the two values of one quantity is equal to the ratio of the two values of the other quantity in direct variation, and here in indirect variation the ratio of the two values of one quantity is equal to the inverse of the ratios of the two values of the other quantity. Clear? Now in order to solve the problems on direct and inverse variation using the multiplying ratio method, you need to have a clear idea of what multiplying ratio is. So to find the multiplying ratio, first we need to identify the variation. The first step will be to identify the variation in the given question. Then only we can determine the multiplying ratio. Now let's see if it is a question of direct variation, then what will be the multiplying ratio? Now let's try to understand the multiplying ratio in direct variation with the help of an example. So let's say if 6 apples cost rupees 72, then what will be the price or the cost of 10 apples? Now it is not given here, but you have to find out. So first you need to identify whether it is a direct variation or indirect variation. since I have already written here that we are finding multiplying ratio in the direct variation. So let's give it a check whether it is direct variation or not. So 6 apples cost rupees 72. So obviously 10 apples will cost more, isn't it? So if I'm increasing the number of apples, the price will also increase. So there is a direct variation. Now remember, what was the property of the ratios in direct variation? The ratio of the two quantities, ratio of the two values of the first quantity will be equal to the ratio of the two values of the second quantity. So we can say, therefore, first we need to identify the case. So we can say case of direct variation. It is a case of direct variation, right? Then we can say, therefore, the ratio of apples will be equal to ratio of the cost of apples, or you can say ratio of the corresponding costs, right? So what will the ratio of the apples be? 6 is to 10, and ratio of the cost of the apples, that is 72 is to, now we don't know what the cost of 10 apples are. So what we can do, we can say let the cost of 10 apples be x. So we can place x here. Now let's write the ratio and work it out. Now we have written down the ratio again. So we can change the ratio into fraction, that is 6 by 10, and this will become 72 by x. Now we can apply the cross multiplication, isn't it? Now we can multiply x on both sides, we can say. So x will be equal to 10 will go there, it will become 10, and 6 will come down, 6 into 72 was already there, so 72. Clear? So we have done cross multiplication, transposition we can say, or we can say we have multiplied both sides by x and then divided both sides by 10. So now if we try to solve this, we'll see we can change this 6 into 12, 6 1 is 6, 6 12 is 72. So x will be equal to 120 rupees. Clear? But now what about the multiplying ratio we were talking about? Now this is the solution to the problem that was given. But where is the multiplying ratio? We can see the multiplying ratio is right here, that is 10 by 6. So here we had 6 by 10. So we just changed it into the form of 10 by 6 or the inverse of that. So always remember that the multiplying ratio will be equal to the inverse of the two values of the given quantity. So here two values of the given quantity, that is two values of apples are given, but the other quantity two values are not given. So the inverse of the two values of apples will be the multiplying ratio, that is 10 is to 6, or we can say 10 by 6. So we can simplify it as 2 3 is 6, 2 5 is 10. So we can say 5 by 3 is the multiplying ratio, isn't it? 10 by 6 means 5 by 3. So next part we can directly take the multiplying ratio and solve the sum. So you can use the ratio property and go in a chronological order and find the value for x, or you can skip the remaining part and directly jump into the multiplying ratio by directly looking at the variation and finding the multiplying ratio that will be the inverse of the two values that is already given. So the multiplying ratio in this direct variation will be 10 by 6, that is 5 by 3. Clear? And what we'll do, we'll simply multiply it with the one value of the other quantity that is given. So the answer will be able to find with that. So 5 by 3 times 72 will give you 120. Let's try it out. So now we'll use the multiplying ratio method to solve this sum. The first method we used was directly putting the ratios in an equation and getting the value of x, or the value to be found. Now we'll use the multiplying ratio method, which is a little shorter than that. So this will be the next method, that is the multiplying ratio method. So here first again you identify the variation, whether it is direct or inverse variation. So in this case it is a case of direct variation. You write it down and then you write the multiplying ratio. Hence the multiplying ratio will be equal to what? Will be the inverse of the values, or you can say inverse of the ratio of the two values that is given. So what is the inverse of the ratio? So it will be 10 by, or 10 is to 6, or you can say 10 by 6. You can solve it out. It will become 2 3 is 6, 2 5 is 10, that will be 5 by 3. So this is the multiplying ratio here, 5 by 3. Now after finding the multiplying ratio, you can solve the question. So therefore cost of 10 apples will be equal to 5 by 3 multiplied by 72. That will give us 3. 24 times will give us 72. 5 24 is a 120. So it is rupees 120, isn't it? So we have got the cost of 10 apples. So this is a short method to find the answer in case of direct variation. Now before moving on to finding the multiplying ratio in indirect variation, I'll show you one more method which you can use to find the value or the answer. Now this method that we'll be using is the method you already know, that is the unitary method, right? So here again you have to identify what kind of variation it is. So we know that this is a direct variation. So in this method again you will write first it is a case of direct variation, and after writing that you can start the process. So you can say cost of 6 apples is equal to rupees 72. So you will find the cost of 1 apples. Cost of 1 apple is equal to, will be less, that means 72 by 6 rupees, right, which will be equal to rupees 12. 6 12 is 72. Now for some reason I am using 72 by 6 in the next step to relate something to you. You can directly bring 12 also. So we can find now therefore cost of 10 apples, isn't it? If you know the cost of 1 apple, you can find the cost of 10 apples. So cost of 10 apple will be, you will multiply 10, isn't it? So cost of 1 apple is 12. So 2 apples will be 24. You are multiplying 2. So if 10 apples means 10 into 12, or in this case I am not bringing 12, we are just multiplying 10 into 72 by 6. Now if you observe in this if you observe this expression, you will see that it is 10 by 6. 10 by 6 means the multiplying ratio, right? So anyhow we are getting the multiplying ratio form. So you could have brought 12 here directly and multiplied, you could have got 120. So anyways, since I have brought 72 by 6, it is also okay. So 6 12 is 72, that is rupees 120. So I hope you are clear with the three methods of finding, or you can say solving problem on direct variation. Now let's move on to indirect variation. Now let's find the multiplying ratio in inverse variation. So let's take an example. So let's say two men can complete a work in 50 days. So 5 men will complete the work in how many days? So this is a question that is being given to you and they are asking in how many days will 5 men complete the work. Now you have to identify what kind of variation it is. Now here I have already given that this is inverse variation, but let's try to identify it. So 2 men can do a work in 50 days. So if I bring more men, will they take more days or less days? Few days. They'll take few days, right? Because if I increase the number of men, they'll complete the work fast, so they'll take less days. So the days will reduce. So if increasing the number of men, the days are decreasing. So this is the case of inverse variation. So case of inverse variation. Now you remember the relation between the ratios of the two values of the first quantity and the ratio of the two values of the second quantity. What was the relation? The ratio of the two values of the quantity of x will be equal to the inverse of the ratio of the two values of the other quantity. So we can say, therefore ratio of men will be equal to inverse of the ratio of days, right? So ratio of men means 2:5 and the inverse of the ratio of days will be this place, which we don't know, is to 50. So if we don't know what we have here, what should we do? We'll say let the number of days taken by 5 men to complete the work be x. Clear? Now let's bring the ratio. So let's put the value x. So now let's solve this. So 2:5 will become 2 by 5 and x is to 50 will be x by 50. Now x is in the numerator, so we don't need to transpose. So we will transpose 50. So 50 is in the division here. So if we take it to the other side, it will become multiplication, or let's say multiplying 50 on both sides. So is equal to x. Now we can change the order. I can say x is equal to 2 by 5 into 50. Now if you observe here, we are multiplying 2 by 5 to 50. Now 2 by 5 means what? Is the original ratio of the values of the first quantity that is given, right? 2:5. This is 2 by 5. So this is the multiplying ratio. Let's solve this. So 5 ones are 5, 5, 10. So 2 tens are 20, so 20 days. So 5 men will take 20 days. Now this was the first method that we have used. Now we were able to identify the multiplying ratio. Now second method we can use directly by applying the multiplying ratio method. Clear? So what is the multiplying ratio now? The multiplying ratio will be the ratio of the two values of the given quantity. So here the two values of the given quantity is of men. This is not given, so what will be the multiplying ratio? Will be the same, 2:5. Here we are not doing the inverse, right? That was in direct variation. When we are finding the multiplying ratio, there it was the inverse of the two values, but here multiplying ratio will be the same. So 2:5 is 2 by 5. So simply we can multiply 2 by 5 with 50 to get 20 days. So let's apply the multiplying ratio method. Now when using the multiplying ratio method, you first identify the variation, then mention that it is the case of inverse variation. So after mentioning the variation, now you can directly represent the multiplying ratio. We'll say hence multiplying ratio is equal to the ratio of the two values of the given quantity, that is 2:5, that is 2 by 5. Now we can say therefore we have to find the number of days. So number of days taken by 5 men will be equal to what? 2 by 5, that is multiplying ratio, multiplied by the value of one quantity that is given, that is 50. So 5 tens are 50, that is 2 tens are 20 days. Clear? So you can apply this method to reduce your work. So this is a shortcut method, or you can use the equation of the two ratios if you want to go step by step. Now we can also apply the unitary method to find the answer here in inverse variation. Let's go through it. So when you're using the unitary method, you can again identify what kind of variation it is, then mention it is a case of inverse variation. If it is inverse variation, then you will start the process. Number of days taken by 2 men is equal to 50. Then we can find the number of days taken by 1 man. So we can say therefore number of days taken by 1 man. Now 2 men can complete the work in 50 days. So 1 man will take more days or few days? Obviously more days he will take, isn't it? 2 men can take 50 days, so 1 man will take more days. So it will be 2 times 50 days. Now, so you can multiply and you get 100. So I'm just leaving it like this. Then you can find therefore number of days taken by how many men we had to find? By 5 men. So 5 men. Now 1 man can complete in so many days. Now if I put in 5 men, so days will be few now. They can complete the work faster. So what we'll do? We'll divide. So 2 times 50, that is the number of days, divided by 5. Now if you observe, this is in the form of 2 by 5. It means 2 by 5 means what? That is the multiplying ratio that we had found, and we were multiplying it with 50, right? So here also we are getting the multiplying ratio. So we can cancel it out. So 5 tens are 50 and 2 tens are 20 days. I hope the three methods to find the value in inverse variation is also clear to you. Now, how would you solve a problem on direct and inverse variation if there are three quantities involved? So here we have 25 men working 8 hours a day do a job in 63 days. How long would 45 men take to finish the job working 7 hours a day? So here we have men, hours and then days. So we can apply the unitary method to solve this question. So 25 men working 8 hours a day per day, we can say, will complete the job in 63 days. Then they are asking how long will 45 men take to complete the job working 7 hours per day. Now days is not given, so we have to find how many days they will take. Now we can write solution. So number of days taken by 25 men working 8 hours per day will be equal to 63 days. Now we can find number of days taken by one man working 8 hours per day. So if 25 men were working 8 hours, now don't look at the hours part. Just think that 25 men working 63 days. Now one man will take less days or more days. One man will take more days, right? So we will simply multiply. So 25 into 63 days, right? Now we can find number of days taken by one man working 1 hour per day. So we can say number of days taken by one man working 1 hour per day will be equal to, now if they are working only 1 hour, if one man is working only 1 hour, before he was working 8 hours, now if he will work 1 hour, so the days will increase, right? Because if he was working 8 hours, then he was taking less time. Now if he only works 1 hour per day, then days will increase. So we'll multiply 8 times 25 and 63 days total, right? Now once we have found the value of 1 unit, so we'll be able to find 45 men working 7 hours will work in how many days. So we can say therefore number of days taken by 45 men working 1 hour per day will be equal to, now we are increasing the number of men, means number of days will also reduce, so it means we have to divide. So 8 times 25 times 63 by 45 days it will become, right? Now we can find 45 men working 7 hours per day will take how many days? So therefore number of days taken by 45 men working 7 hours per day will be equal to, now they are working more hours, isn't it? Number of hours has also increased per day, so means they'll complete the work much faster, means number of days will reduce. So again we have to divide by 7. So 8 times 25 into 63 by divide by 7 and 45 days altogether, isn't it? So now let's solve this. So 5 5s are 25, 5 9s are 45, 9 7s are 63, 7 1s are 7, 7 1s are 7. So we are left with 8 and 5, that is 40, is equal to 40 days. So the number of days taken by 40 men working 7 hours per day will be 40 days, isn't it? So we can say hence 45 men working 7 hours per day or a day will finish the job in 40 days. Clear? Now once you are well aware of what you have to do, you can directly skip the steps. So here from number of days taken by 25 men working 8 hours per day is equal to 63 days, you can directly skip to this step and say number of days taken by one man working 1 hour per day will be equal to 8 times 25 times 63 days. And then after finding this, you can directly skip to number of days taken by 45 men working 7 hours per day will be 8 times 25 in times 63 by 7 times 45, isn't it? But before jumping the steps, understand the steps in a chronological order so that the concept is clear to you. Then later on we have various shortcut formulas which you will be able to use, but it's better you understand the steps one by one. So I hope this is clear to you. Practice the questions at home. Stay safe. Keep smiling. Thank you.